Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Opinionated Lushes Does Books and Booze, the series where we invite on indie authors to let them read a little bit of their books and ask them some questions. I'm going to pass it on to Dawn to introduce this week's author.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm excited to introduce our this week. I'm having trouble talking today. This week's author, Kari Parts. You know what? You can introduce yourself. I suck at talking today. Fuck it. Take over.
Hi, I'm Kari Pohar, and I'm a paranormal author.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
I am from Northern Illinois.
Illinois.
Ooh,
Have we had any authors from Illinois?
I don't think so.
I
We
don't
don't know
think
anyone
so.
in Chicago or anything. So
So I'm
Yeah.
about 40 miles north of Chicago.
nice.
So it's just a quick metro ride into Chicago from us, for us.
Oh, sweet. We'll have to come visit. I'll
Yeah,
make an
we're
excuse.
Canadian, so thank you for saying how close it was because it was like 40 miles. That must be 1,000,000 kilometers. I don't know.
The only place we've ever been was like the Chicago airport, like O'Hara. Very nice airport. Love that airport. But that's all I know about Chicago. So
Heard it's windy.
yeah, I heard that.
That's more for the politics.
Yeah,
Fair,
fair.
fair. You want to tell us a little bit about the book you'll be reading today?
Sure. So I wrote a novel called Chateau Merlot. It's a vampire-owned apartment building where she houses her humans like a wine cellar.
Okay,
Nice.
okay,
I like that.
okay.
I do
Um,
too.
that that's good that you like it.
I
I
know.
hope so. Okay, I'll get us started. We'll get right into it. I'll read off the drink words. And then we will mute ourselves and you can get started right on reading. So, the drink words for our listeners and for us are blood, Stephen, kill, and Lyle.
All right, I'm gonna get ready to drink.
Alrighty. So I'm going to start with chapter 1. No self-respecting person would consider selling themselves. So what did that say about me? I needed money and had run out of options. There were no other reasons to use the app once bitten. Desperation was a requirement. I pressed accept and knew that whatever came next was out of my hands. After I placed the phone safely on the floor, I laid down and closed my eyes. Immediately, a sound echoed in the room and forced me from sleep. The sun had set. I couldn't see in the dark apartment. The natural noise of the building, neighbors yelling below, and the rats scurrying in the walls, which never ceased, had become a part of my nightly routine. A glance around the room and a glow from my phone led me to the noise. Before I could react, the phone echoed again. I picked it up and brought it closer to my face. An exclamation point appeared in the corner of Once Bitten with a new message alert. A sharp inhale came as I dove into the message and hoped it was a viable option to get paid. I needed the money, no doubt about it. I willed myself to give the app a chance and sat up. With no experience with dating apps, this venture of selling myself was understandably outside of my comfort zone. Skepticism toward being matched with anyone turned to bewilderment. What was that? 10 minutes? Must be some kind of record. Several years ago, Roxborough Heights was a city full of opportunity. Unemployment was at an all-time low, and it made sense for me to move to the city. The excitement of living in an apartment was everything I could have imagined it would be. Even when I had lived, even even when I had to live with several roommates simply to afford the rent. Most of us worked at Garcia Group, one of the largest technology factories. The pay and benefits were decent. After a year of employment, I was considered for the managerial training program. Then I met Olivia. Life was good until it wasn't. When Garcia Group closed its doors a year ago, it packed up and moved out of the country and left over 1,000 people out of work. Additional factories, Pinehurst Industries, Roxborough Heights Transport, Upshur Smith Laboratories followed suit, closed their doors, and moved to cities that offered better perks for their companies. Unemployment skyrocketed, and my roommates scattered and left their cities with better job opportunities, except for Lyle. Lyle had connections. Lyle wasn't someone I cared to think about. He worked at the same company as his father. With a small team under him, a company car, and a large Christmas bonus, it appeared good fortune had abandoned me for Lyle. Then Olivia followed suit and chose him. I was left with a merciless hunt for unemployment. It was constantly city if he didn't have connections, which I did not. Odd jobs around the city helped me earn the only income I had, which barely covered my rent, ramen noodle diet, and meager phone fee. In desperation, I sold everything I owned of value to keep up with the rent. Despite the microscopic apartment and the horrible location in the city, the rent was higher than I could afford. All my utilities were past due and would be shut off at any moment. I scrolled on the screen to see the photo of my match. A woman with green eyes rimmed in dark eyeshadow captured my attention immediately as she glared at me through the phone. Her long face was pale as a lily, but it was angled with sharp cheekbones and left no room for softness. Below her was Below was her request to me. 2 hours was all I had to get there. I leaned over and turned on the single lamp I owned and prayed the bulb which had threatened to burn out would show me some mercy. The light flickered for several seconds before it dimly lit the room. With a shake of my head, I rid myself of doubt and pushed off the lumpy mattress. The trip, the trip to the Crimson Club would take me an hour if the buses and subways were on my side. I crossed the room in 2 steps to rifle through a torn cardboard box, the home of my pitiful wardrobe. Instantly, I recognized the articles inside wouldn't be good enough for the appointment. Hand began to wiggle its way into my brain as I inspected each piece. The holes and tears were prevalent. I don't have time to patch anything, and what if I'm turned away because of the state of my clothes? A small pile beside me as gathered beside me as items were deemed unpresentable. Then a pair of jeans appeared. Torn, yes, but the tears appeared to be purposeful rather than genuine. I tossed them on the mattress beside me and hunted for a shirt. Another handful was tossed into a pile before a dark blue button-down shirt seemed appropriate enough. It was slightly threadbare in a few places, but a dark t-shirt underneath could help hide its flaws. My heart drummed unwillingly in my chest, and my hands grew limp. I don't think I can do this, I through whispered thoughts escaped my lips. I took another look at the woman, Angelica Asta, in the app. Below her photo, her offer was visible. Her offer told me exactly how far I was willing to go from them. The low pressure in the shower mixed with the cold water hurried me along. However, I needed a shave, which required great care, especially with a dull blade and minimum shaving cream. Luckily, my short black hair required little effort besides a quick cleansing. A spritz of the final drops of my cologne, and all that was left to do was get dressed. The jeans and button-up shirt, if not inspected too closely, completed the image I needed to have. Someone worthy of the price Angelica Asta had offered to pay. With a final inspection in the mirror, I looked at my reflection and gave myself a pep talk. Stephen, you can do this. My inner thoughts whispered and challenged me to hope. If this goes well, maybe she'll give me a job. She's got to need hardworking guys who are willing to do pretty much anything for a paycheck. A pat on my back pocket confirmed my phone was there. I headed to the affluent part of the city, the home of the Crimson Club. 2 buses and a subway later, I found myself near the club, which was massive. The line wrapped around the corner and led me to the entrance of the club. Blair shot at me as I pushed past the people who had stood in line all night and waited for their chance to be accepted. I lifted my head and chest and walked straight to the bouncer and waved. He didn't wave back, didn't acknowledge me at all. I tried a greeting. Good evening, I have an appointment. Again, he ignored me. Hey, my name is Stephen McIntyre, and I have an appointment. The bouncer was taller and looked down at me, shaking his round, pale, bald head. There was something odd about the bouncer, and it took me several moments to figure out what. Then it became apparent he was completely hairless. I wonder if he constantly shaving his head or if he's naturally. I backed away and gave the rather unhelpful bouncer a nickname, Tiny. So forever in my mind, he would be Tiny. Without any instruction on how to enter, hope began to fade. In the app again, I scrolled past Angelica's photo and saw, in minuscule font, Do not use my name to get in. I will void the contract immediately. To get into the Crimson Club, use the name Elizabeth Bathory. They will allow you inside, and an escort will bring you to me. I demand silence from you during the transaction and will not tolerate cries or screams. After the exchange, you will be paid, and you will leave. You will speak with no one of the trade. If I require your services again, I will contact you. You will not contact me. What the hell did I willingly get myself into? But one time will pay for rent for 9 months. 9. I'll find a job before the money is gone. I smiled widely and walked back to Tiny. Elizabeth Bathory. He raised the place where his eyebrows should have been. From behind me, someone grabbed my shirt and pushed me toward the club. The glow of the lights bathed everyone in an ominous red. There was no turning back now. My hearing was dulled instantly by the deafening music. The number of people packed on the dance floor made the room appear to close in on itself. Lights flashed and strobed and made the room spin before me. From behind, I was propelled forward. I glanced behind me and I saw Tiny. The flashing lights turned his skin a variety of shades of blue and green. As if I weighed no more than a feather, he weaved me through the crowd toward the door in the far corner. Tiny didn't slow his stride as we neared the door, about to crash into it. The door opened and allowed Tiny to walk through without missing a step. He pointed toward a plush red chair and steered me to it. As soon as I stood next to it, he shoved me and I landed in the chair. I rapidly inspected the room for any escape. Unfortunately, there's only one door. The dim room was lined with red brocade curtains with blocks of real between. You're new. Tiny's deep voice grumbled as he came to stand over me. I nodded slightly. He sighed heavily as he walked to a black table in the corner of the room. Something slid across the table and scraped against the surface before he walked back. Uncertain of what was about to happen, I squeezed my eyes shut and clenched my teeth. Something cold and heavy dropped into my lap. With a yelp of surprise, my eyes flew open to see a silvery clipboard there. Tiny humphed as he held a pen out to me and imitated writing with it. I looked between Tiny and the clipboard when the question flew from my lips in an instant. What is this? He leaned over and tapped the bold print non-disclosure agreement on the paper. Can I take a moment to read this? I squeaked. A twitch was noticeable in the corner of his right eye. Quickly, I skimmed down the page where nothing made sense to me. So what's all this mean? I'm not a lawyer. His teeth snapped audibly as he released a low growl. Whatever happens in this room stays in this room. Speaking of your time with the mistress with anyone besides the mistress may result in your termination. Should she choose to use your services again, she will contact you within the next 8 to 10 weeks. You are immediately banned from providing donated blood to any blood bank. Medical services are highly discouraged for the next 6 to 8 weeks by the pain of death. If another requests your services, you are not eligible to donate for the next 10 weeks. If you make it through the first session, you will be paid. If the mistress is unsuccessful, you will receive a partial compensation of 15% to keep your silence. Breaking this non-disclosure agreement will be detrimental to your life. Oh, is that all? I replied with a titter. I was not comforted by anything Tiny had told me, and regret filled my entire being. Is there any backing out at this point? Tiny shook his head and slammed his forefinger down on the line for my signature. As soon as I signed, he ripped the pen and clipboard out of my hands and walked to the table. He knelt and pulled a black basket down from underneath and placed it on top. With a final shake of his head, he opened the door and released a flood of music back into the room. The music from the club was only a low, distant thumb in the room. How long would I have to wait before she came in? Did she have others that would come in first? Hopefully not someone who would measure me for a casket, but fell flat even on my ears. Felt too close to possible for it to be funny. Only a moment passed before I heard footsteps click on the floor. I turned toward the sound and could only see the sleek silhouette of a woman. With each step she came into focus, an Angelica aspect stood before me. The black dress she wore sheathed her body and helped hide her. A soft pop sounded as the hidden door closed behind her. The black heel clicked on the shiny black floor as she walked. Closer now, I could see her lean face appeared more severe than it had in the photo, with her hair in a tight bun at the back of her head. Silent, Angelica towered over me and she ran her light green eyes over me. With a lift of a single eyebrow, she snapped her manicured fingers and Tiny returned to the room. He lightly placed a stack of money onto the table and turned to me without a word. After the door closed behind him, Angelica bore her eyes into mine. Good evening. I'm assuming you've read my conditions. I expect the donation to proceed as agreed upon. She paused and watched me. Unless you have decided to end the transaction, we will afford you minimal money and a length of life to enjoy it. I swallowed as my throat suddenly became parched and scratchy. I nodded gently. A chuckle and a red-lipped smile seemed to darken her light green eyes to a deep pale color. Do you have any questions? Unsure of what questions would result in death, I remained silent and shifted in my seat. I appreciate your caution and silence both bode well for you. Let's see if I can guess. Hmm. Let's see if a guess can be made to the question which plagues your mind. She paused before she continued. I believe I know. Why would you be paid $20,000 when you have no experience? Seems almost too good to be true. Hmm? She waited for me to respond, and I could only nod. The money is the driving force, but it did seem too much. It's always been a scam. Well, I won't leave you in suspense any longer. You're a rare find nowadays, Stephen. You have something desirable, and honestly, I'm surprised this is the first I've heard of you. You, my pet, have the rarest blood type, and it's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. It's exquisite, and there's so few left with AB negative anymore, with all the disease running that she put. Her eyes became slits a moment later. I will be able to discern at the first sip if he's lies, and I will kill you. Instinctively, I leaned back and put extra distance between us. Another chuckle, and she continued, You didn't lie to me, did you, Stephen? I shook my head. I didn't think so. I do believe you will be rewarded for your service with me. A question began to bubble up inside me until it burst out. Why do you pay so much money for something you can take and not attack them? I ducked down lower. Hopefully, it hadn't been a fatal question. Excellent question. I pay for your service because when someone is attacked, their adrenaline needs a taste. AB negative is a delicacy and the adrenaline is overshadowed. Of course, your adrenaline will be elevated, but not near so much as someone who's attacked without warning. It is delicious when given freely. She leaned over. Her eyes held mine as she continued. I'm looking forward to a long partnership. My heart rammed against my chest and slow breaths did nothing to calm it. Her eyes skimmed over me and the tip of her pink tongue peeked out from her lips where she focused on my neck. My leg began to shake and I knew my anxiety was out of control. I'm willingly going to be free. Her pale, delicate hand pressed down on my knee. My sudden lack of release from the nervous energy mounted in me sneered. I don't want to. What don't you want to do? Follow through with those contracts? Get paid? She bristled and pulled herself back up to speed. With crossed arms, she glared at me as her face twisted into a smooth. I don't want to die. A loud laugh exploded from her, and a genuine smile cracked into her cold exterior. I would not kill you without reason. There have been countless donors who have successful partnerships with me. It has also often been quite profitable for the donor. She paused and brought her hands to her head. You cannot be afraid of seeing phantom of blood. I shook my head. She sat on the arm of the chair and leaned closer to me. Through pursed lips, she whispered, Shh. The breath was cold as it grazed my ear. I took a deep breath as her fingers touched the collar of my shirt. Her icy fingertips traced lines down the back of my neck, gently scraping her fingernails against my skin. She cradled my head and guided it back to expose my neck. I wish time would speed up here. My life is on the line in no can. If she's going to kill me, it will be this moment. My arm grabbed the arm of the chair and clawed into it. Angelica glided her tongue an inch below my ear. Goosebumps prickled up my neck. She hummed softly as she savored my skin. I smiled and let my eyes close, dazed as she seemed. I allowed my head to rest against the back of the chair as she draped her arm over my shoulder and sat down. Then pain seared through me as Angelica sank her teeth into me. With a yelp, my feet slid on the floor but could not find any traction. Panic froze as I desperately tried to take a deep breath. If the adrenaline in my blood is too high, she will kill me. Beside me, Angelica shifted her weight and pressed her body onto mine, holding me still. Paralyzed, the moments passed slowly before fire rose to my neck. Angelica moaned softly as she drank. She curled her fingers behind my neck and caressed my skin. Finally, my breath slowed as her moans and caresses relaxed me. Her eyes closed and I allowed the terror of being Angelica's meal to dissipate. When she'd had her fill, she gently withdrew and leaned into me. Our breaths synced for only a few moments, then I turned my head toward her. Our eyes met. A calmness had settled over her, and her face had lost its harsh edges, which had been present only moments before. The ferocious hunger had been abated. She smiled as she lifted herself off me, but she stumbled slightly. Hand to her temple, she slurred, "My book with me." She sat down on the arm of the chair again and closed her eyes. The room is dancing in front of my eyes, too. After several deep breaths, Angelica stood up. Once again poised, she turned to look at me. "Now, thank you, and next time."
That was so good.
Wow. I was like thinking, I was like, vampire. Ah, that's good. That's good.
I got so into the story that I forgot to drink every time. So like I'm like listening and then I'm like seeing Jessica drink. I'm like, oh shit, I should be drinking too.
Yeah, you're very good with descriptors. I like that. I
Well,
like
thank
that.
Yeah, it was so detailed.
But not
Like
too
it's
much
very
that it's like boring, you know?
Yeah, no,
It's
no, it was
like-
just vivid. Like you could
Yeah.
picture it. That's what I liked about it. What made you want to write about vampires?
Well, I almost didn't. So I was a part of this writers group, and this novel started as a 1,700 word short story. Because that's primarily where I had how I had gotten published previously. I have 8 or 9 short stories published in anthologies in a variety of them. And so that's kind of where I had really found the confidence to publishing and to really explore my writing with a short story. And so I wrote this short story, and one of the members was like, "I can't believe you wrote a vampire novel. They are so over. They're so ew. Who would read or write vampires?" And I was discouraged, but not super long because I was like, well, I like this story, and I was really compelled to write it. And so I came up with the story in the car because I was driving. Because I drive all over for my day job,
Okay.
and um, and so of course, like when you drive around all the time, this is also pre-pandemic. Um, um, you drive around all the time and you start thinking. And I had the idea of what would happen if vampires had an app, like a dating app, but not a dating app, an app to connect to blood donors, and what would happen. And that's where the story started. And I'm a panther, so that basically means I go into it not knowing anything. I'm like, I just went in with, all right, vampires have an app, and it's going to be called Once Bitten. It was originally going to be, the book was going to be named Once Bitten until I found out there's an 80s movie with Jim Carrey and it's called Once Bitten. And I was like, no.
Yeah, fair. Wouldn't be good for like the algorithm. Everyone searches Once Bitten and it's the Jim Carrey movie that pops up. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did keep Once Bitten as the app. I thought that was,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Okay, so you've written vampires. Have you written any other supernatural creatures or are in the plans of writing about other supernatural creatures?
Yeah. So this was my first vampire story I've written. The A majority of the short stories that I've written are paranormal, mostly ghosts. But my ghost stories don't tend to be scary. They're just kind of, oh, they're just ghosts, They're
They just
like
exist.
they just exist. Like there's one where he's like the first sentence he goes, "I'm a ghost. I know it. I'm dead. I might not remember my name, but I'm a ghost, and I like to haunt people."
Okay.
I would haunt
Um,
people too if I was a ghost.
Yeah,
I
same.
know.
I got a list.
So I do like to write about ghosts. I attempted to write a book about Slavic folklore, but it didn't
They
go
didn't
anywhere.
take.
It
Yeah.
it it just it wasn't my time for it. Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
one day. One day you could. You never know.
Maybe. But the vampires kind of grabbed hold, and the people that had read the short story of Chateau Merlot were like, okay, well, great first chapter, keep going. And I was like, no, that's done. They're like, no.
No. There must be more.
So I was peer pressured into writing it.
That's what we need to do for you, Dawn. Peer
Literally.
pressure you into finishing your book.
I know. I read one
Start
chapter.
bullying you. I'm gonna bully you to write.
Just do it.
Give me your lunch money. Okay.
I'll meet you out back by the flagpole.
Did you write any words today?
Kidney shot.
Okay, so what exactly got you into writing? Like, did you always want to be a writer, or was it something you grew into?
Well, in 7th grade, so it's going back just a couple years,
Just a bit.
just a few. In 7th grade, that was pretty much the first English teacher that I had that was teaching creative writing. And she also introduced me to O. Henry and Edgar Allan Poe, and those two are very dear to me. I feel like both of those have inspired some of my writing. So, like The Darkness of Edgar Allan Poe and some of the unexpected twists.
Cool.
Yeah. I like Edgar Allan Poe. Like, it's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really is. I feel. Nah, I cannot talk today. I just want to give up.
Has a books podcast. Can't read words.
I can read. I can't speak. That's the problem.
Can't speak words.
I can't speak. So don't get me to do public speaking because, good Lord. What I was saying was I feel like a lot of people inspired by past poets just like Edgar Allan Poe and like Shakespeare and stuff. So it makes sense. Like dark authors and in that paranormal wanted like gear towards that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard he's pretty popular.
Just a little bit.
Just a wee bit. So what led to like so you started writing really early, but what led to you like publishing, like putting your first book out there?
Well, a friend of mine had self-published her book, and her question to herself was, all right, yes, you want to publish a book, you want your book on a shelf, but is it like, why do you want this? Like, do you want it now? Do you want it later? Do you want control over your book? Which I think is just a natural part of publishing, regardless of if you're going to go traditional publishing or independent publishing. You know, what is your goal in this? And so I had submitted a single like query letter. Almost instantly got a rejection. I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm done. I'm not. I cannot take any more rejection in my life. And so I had participated. I no longer participate in Nano, but I had participated in, I think this was 2019.
Okay.
So prior to a lot of the controversy that has come out since then.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I participated, and I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to write this book. And I did it. So that was very helpful.
Yeah, finishing a book.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
First step's done.
Yeah.
You know, and then over the next 2 years-ish, I worked on editing it. I got an editor, and he worked on it. And then by the time it came back to me, then it was like very, very quick after that. It was like, oh, it's back, and I can like publish. And I had set up a launch party at a local bookstore. And so we had picked that date for like mid to late June. And when I got my manuscript back, it was probably March or April. And I was like, oh, this got real fast.
Yeah. Oh, wow. How long did it take you to, from like beginning to end, to write Chateau Merlot?
So including editing and rewrites and everything.
Yeah.
So I started it June of 2019 and then published it. It officially was published June of 2022. So it took 3 years.
Okay.
That's pretty average if, you know, like, you're not mass producing. Like, there's a lot of authors that mass produce. I don't know how they do it. And they, like, get a book out once a month. Those people are crazy. Okay? They don't sleep. But yeah, like, I feel like that's a good timeline because, like, you got your edits and your re-edits, and, like, by the time your manuscript goes back and forth between your editor, like, it takes time. And you gotta fix those edits. Like, so no,
Yeah,
I think
sorry, I was just gonna say, you said you're a pantser, so when it comes to like writing, do you edit at all while writing, or do you just get it all out there and then start going through?
I try my best to just get through it because what I have experienced in previous things that I tried to write is I will go back to the beginning and then I will get bogged down with what I need to fix and I get overwhelmed. And so sometimes for me it is just best to just be like I'll put in notes like, okay, I need to fix this or I need to add like 'cause I don't know where exactly the story is going to go. And so sometimes as I'm going, I've started to realize I need to make this character more prevalent before this point. So I'll put in like just little notes throughout the manuscript, like add some more here, or I'm working on the sequel to Chateau Merlot. It's currently called Succulents.
Okay, okay.
all
Currently,
right.
um, and I had written the sequel, and it was awful. It wasn't great. There were and it wasn't necessarily awful. It was I put a dual point of view from two different characters, and there was too much in one book.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Is it, like,
so
repetitive? Like, it was, like, they were saying the exact
no,
same thing or oh,
no,
okay.
you were getting two different perspectives. So in Chateau Merlot, there's rival vampires. So there's Angelica,
Yeah.
and she's the not great vampire, and
Yeah.
then there's Bryce Underwood, who is the really not nice.
Okay.
And Bryce likes to try to steal Angelica's her blood donors, and she likes to do that for him. So
Okay.
Okay.
they don't get along well.
No.
They're super old and bitter. And so in one of the versions of the sequel, one of the characters was in a tree for like 6 chapters.
Oh wow.
You just left them there. You're
I
like,
just
you can
left
stay
them
there
in
for a while.
I was like,
6 chapters later, oh shit, we should go back and get him. My bad.
and at one point in that version, I lost a body.
You just lost it?
I lost a body in the book. This is completely fiction. And I was like, something happened. The police show up because there was like a mass amount of things happening. And as the police are coming in, I was like, where did I put that body? And if it's in the trunk of that car right there, that is bad news because I don't want that body there.
Trying to get away with murder in your own book, and you're like, what do I do? The cops have caught me red-handed.
That wasn't supposed to go there. I swore I put it somewhere else.
So are you gonna have like because there was too much? Are you gonna release like it in each perspective individually, or?
So what it ended up becoming is so the two different perspectives are two completely different vibes. Chateau Merlot isn't necessarily it's horror because it's got vampires in it,
Mhm.
but it's more cozy horror. And there's some funny stuff in there, you know. Steven is kind of funny and he doesn't take things overly seriously. Maybe not seriously enough for the situation that he's in. he's very naive and trusting and sees the good in people. And
Dumbass.
I know, but he's been described as like a cinnamon roll golden retriever. And I love him so much.
But not with vampires. You can't mix those two.
Well, I did. And it happened,
It's too late for him. It's too late.
And so the vibe for Chateau is a little funny, a little some drama. You know, there's blood, there's vampires. But in that second point of view in the second book, it was very dark, and he was a vampire with Bryce Underwood, which is the other vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm doing, fingers crossed I can do it, is that first point of view will be the second book for Chateau Merlot, and that other point of view will be a different series in that
universe.
In that universe.
Okay.
So like I'm thinking like Roxborough Heights after that.
So we're just doing expansion packs. We're just gonna add on
just building
everywhere.
a world. I love that.
I mean, Chateau Merlot has like what? 20 floors. So, and she can hold like 80, I think it's 82 people in her apartment building. That's just that one apartment building.
So you could get like 82 like different stories just out of that apartment building.
Exactly.
That's not even outside of it.
Right. And then you've got like the personal trainer, because of course they've got a personal trainer. She wants them to be as healthy as possible. She has contracts with farmers, so they get farm to table food.
Farm to table. Yes.
That's a very considerate vampire. I'm just gonna say, like, she's taking care of her donors.
Well, she's harvesting them.
She wants them for the long term. Because you know how hard it is to replace somebody with AB negative blood.
Yeah.
Just like the real world.
It's true. No, that's really good. So so you're building this world. What do you find more difficult? Like I'm assuming like is it world building like coming up, or is it character development?
There you go.
I'm thinking at this point the world has been kind of built. Now it's the characters. And in the second book, the characters are doing things I was not planning on or expecting. I was like, no! Why? Why are we doing this? And the second book, it is still closed door. So, because mostly I write closed door anything, because I know people that will read it. Like I personally know people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't need my dad reading it.
That'd be an awkward Thanksgiving dinner.
You know, my aunt has read it. You know, there's people like family members of mine that will read it, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So it is closed door, but Angelica definitely visits me, and she's like, "Hey, I'm not going to do anything with you, but because you're beneath me, but." I like to. She likes to hold the strings. So.
No, I love a strong female main character. I like that. That's. I like that she has the power dynamic.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
do you have a question, Dawn?
I was wondering, is there any other like authors that like you inspire from, that like you want to be on their level, like Anne Rice, or I'm trying to think of other vampire-y.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say Stephanie Meyer because no,
those aren't vampire novels. They're freaking fairies. Like
they're sparkly.
That's why I wasn't gonna say that. I was like, we're not adding that one.
Fangs. They don't.
I would like to be as prolific as Anne McCaffrey. I know that she's not a paranormal; she is fantasy slash sci-fi. But for her world building, she had an entire series, and then her son took over. And so I'm not saying I want my son to take over or my daughter, but just to have that much world building, have that many stories, like that's, you know, inspirational for me.
Yeah. It's cool, like building your own like world with that has so many like dynamic characters and situations happening in it, like
Mhm.
either consecutively or all at the same time. It's like you don't things are happening.
That's why I can't do fantasy. I've read it, I like it, but to write it would be mind blowing. I'd have to remember all those details, and I just cannot. Like that would not happen. I can barely talk. You think I could write that? Like, no,
And all the names that you can't pronounce.
right? We're not gonna go over that. Like that's just not gonna happen. We're doing modern day. And,
Write what you know. Write what you know.
well, I mean, what I know is boring. I am gonna tap into things I don't know, but like almost realistic stuff.
Okay, so are any of your characters slightly based on real people, or how do you get your inspiration for your characters?
Steven, it turns out, is a little bit like me. So I realized that after the fact. I was like, oops. Like, because when I first started writing it, I didn't even know if it was a man or a woman I was writing. I just went in and I'm like, okay, I'm somebody in an apartment. I'm poor. I need money.
To be fair, I kind of felt that like when you started reading it, I didn't know if it was a male until later on. Like
Yeah.
I didn't. I just automatically thought woman.
'Cause,
So
and that was purposeful as well, especially when I wrote the short story, because you kind of expect, like, in the way that the book starts, they're desperate, they need money, and they're going to sell themselves.
Yeah, we automatically think female with those scenarios. We're just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's gotta be a girl. Like we
What
never
a
think
twist!
yeah.
Yeah.
Because we always like internal misogyny. We always think women as weaker than men for some stupid reason. Even women think it too. So that's why you kind of put yourself in that situation and then you're like, oh, it's a man. Deservingly so. All right.
Cool. Cool.
Do you have any routines that you follow when you start writing? Like, do you have to have a coffee beside you? Is there a certain time of day that you have to write? Any little quirks?
I do have some quirks.
Yes, I
So,
love quirks.
so when I am able to write, 2024 was not my year. I lost my job, and I lost two family members,
Oh, I'm so
and
sorry.
the election.
Yeah, I'm reaping that for you too.
It was not my year. Um, However, and then we went right into cooking season because I'm a cookie mom for our Girl Scout troop.
Okay.
So I'm just now getting back into normal sleeping wake patterns. Um, so normally what I do is I set my alarm for 5 a.m. because I am a morning person. And at 5 a.m. I can find fewer excuses. And that goes for pretty much anything. I can clean better, I can exercise more, and I can write because I don't have as many excuses because nobody's going to come looking for me. So I write in the dark.
Okay.
Mostly because, well, this is prior to my new job where I have an office in it, but my computer was in our bedroom, and so my husband was sleeping in there, so I'd have to go over to the computer, turn it on, and I'd be in the dark, in the glow of the dark, in the glow of the computer screen, and then
Typing at 5 a.m.
typing at 5 a.m. and I'd give myself an hour, and then I would throw on some type of dark, spooky, gothic music, but it cannot have any lyrics because then I'm just going to be able to sing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to just be ambiance music. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what scene am I going into? And I do this a lot. I'm like, okay, this is how I get
I'm
into
with
the
it.
character. This is how I get into the character. It's like, okay, I'm in Angelica now. How is she going to respond to this? And I throw in that kind of ambiance music. I pop my headphones in and just start writing. I don't drink coffee. So it's strictly, I'm still in my pajamas, sitting, like I wake up, go to the bathroom, and go straight to the computer and just go write.
You don't drink coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
How's that?
It's helped to fit with the spooky ambiance because she's
This-
depressed.
I'm just saying. I'm like, I can't. I don't think I could ever like type spell words. I can't talk when I'm like.
yeah, it's like you can't talk no matter what.
But I wouldn't be able to spell words without coffee. Like, just could you imagine me off coffee? You know what? Kudos to you.
Yeah,
You-
superhuman.
This is au naturel.
This is a
How's
trick. She's actually a vampire. That's why
Yeah.
she can't drink coffee.
She's been drinking
I'm
blood
onto
instead.
you.
She likes that AB positive
Yeah.
stuff, by the way.
Yeah.
That's why her
So,
husband's sleeping through her typing. She's
Yeah.
cheating on him every night.
He's my blood donor.
Yeah, exactly.
We caught on.
Steven.
But there are nods to my husband in the book.
Okay.
There's a couple times where, so one thing that my husband says is, I'll tell a joke and he's like, I'm laughing on the inside. I think it's hilarious, but he thinks like, I think whatever I've said is hilarious. He goes, yeah, I'm laughing on the inside. So at one point, one of the characters, I can't remember who, but he says, are you a laughing on the inside kind of person? And then at one point there is a door, like a motel door, and it has 1007 on it. That's the room number, and that's 1007 is our music. Oh my gosh.
I can edit it. Don't
No,
worry.
We won't tell
this is
anyone.
No, this is actually a joke between my husband and I because we cannot remember if we got married 10/6 of 07 or 10/7 of 06. And it's 06. So it's
Okay.
10/7 06.
Okay.
And so, and we both have that problem. It's not just a me problem.
Okay,
It's a mutual
perfect.
problem. But so on the door, I think it says 1007 because that's the day we got married.
Nice.
Aw.
That's cute.
Well, I mean, that's been 18 years, right? Because
This
06.
year will be
Well,
19. This year will be
yeah, it'll be the
19.
19th year because my son was born in 06. That's how I know. And I'm like, that kid is 18, so that makes sense.
That's good. Has he been? I assume very supportive of your writing work.
Yeah. Chateau was the first thing he read of mine. He didn't read any of the other stuff, but I had it all, like the manuscript all printed out, and he read it out loud so that I could make notes. And because reading things out loud really changes, like, does it sound right? Does what the characters are saying sound plausible, or even like, is that how somebody would say it?
Yeah, is it authentic or
Right.
Yeah.
So he did that with me, and we did that like every night. Gosh, I don't even know. However long to get through a 60,000
That's
page
awesome.
book. So, and we have 2 young kids, so anytime I'm doing an author event, you know, he's there with the kids. So,
Aw.
That's good.
That's really
That's
good.
good.
Yeah. It's good to have that support system, especially like
If
in
you
this
have
community.
kids, most definitely.
yeah.
and having a second job, like the fact that you have like, well, a main job and then you're doing this, like I applaud you. That is a lot of work, and I get now why you have to get up at 5 a.m. to do everything, because
Mhm.
I couldn't do it any other time. Like after work I'd be beat.
Yeah.
It also makes so much sense why in the beginning of your story you're like, we're all broke. Rent is too expensive. I can't afford nothing.
Gotta
We were
work
so-
2 jobs. I feel it.
The unemployment rate sucks.
Again, there might be some stuff for me in there.
There might be. I mean, it's realistic. I was already set into the story because I was like, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just gonna continue being true, unfortunately. So I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to like see where this world takes place since you have like so many branches that you can build upon.
Yeah. It does take place in the Midwest.
okay.
So, because I'm a Midwestern girl, so I'm like, that's natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw them. I was like, you don't get to be somewhere cool. You're in a make-believe Illinois.
Well, someone's got to live there.
It's true. Even vampires live in Illinois, okay?
You don't get to live in Vegas. No, come down here.
There's too many lights in Vegas. Where are you gonna go?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're like Elsa. You know, the cold doesn't bother them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I mean, we're Canadians, so
Yeah.
we know. We know.
Yeah. I don't have any more questions. So
Okay.
do you want to tell us where we can find your books and find you on any social media platforms?
Sure. So the book is on Amazon. It's also on Kindle Unlimited. And then you can find me online. I'm on TikTok. My handle for pretty much everything is Kari Pohar. I might have an author after it, but as far as I can tell, I'm only Kari Pohar on the
Across the board.
yeah, pretty much. So I'm on Blue Sky, TikTok. I do have a Facebook author page, and during the TikTok takedown, I joined a whole bunch of other ones, but I haven't necessarily landed on any one that I want to put a ton of effort into as of right now. But
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll also have links to all that stuff in the description so our listeners can just go and scroll and click right away, making it a lot easier for them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
thank you for
I had
having
fun.
me.
yeah, I love vampires. I'm a big vampire fan. I read a lot of horror and stuff, even cozy horror, so it's nice to have a cozy horror author on.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
thank you all so much for listening. Make sure to check out Kari Pohar's books and future books and everything else she has going on. And we will see you all next time.
Good night.
Bye. Okay,